and welcome to the Billowing Hilltop podcast. I've got a long one for you to... I'm sorry. I've got a long one for you today, so I'll keep this brief. Throw some stars in the reviews, always welcome, or better still, write a review. We've had some lovely ones recently. Find us on social media, email us at hello@billowinghilltop.com. That's it. Let us push on with episode 207 of the Billowing Hilltop podcast, Switch Hunt. Good evening, everybody.
Good evening.
I'm with everyone apart from Dan. Lucas has returned, shamefaced, refusing to explain where he was. Dan is vacationing, we think, in Narnia, I'm guessing. Care Paravel.
Always winter and never Christmas. What a place to vacation in, eh?
We've got his longship, Olaf Hotpassen, the Hot Viking Graham, easing himself into his specially adapted high chair. Corpulent form of Johnny.
That's me.
Flashing away with all his little diodes and different elements, little pipes and so forth, wiggling about. We've got the semi-human, semi-machine form of Paul.
Thank you so much. Yes, hello.
Lucas, you've missed an awful lot.
I've been away for weeks. You're going to have to recap the recap of the recap.
Shall we tell you where we are or what's been going on? This sort of recap kind of catch up. Can anybody remember? Oh, I'll tell you what we have done is last time, for the second time, in fact, and I thought we would never do this, we ended our session in the broom cupboard. And we need to sort of pick up in the broom cupboard as well. But first of all, let's just do a quick whatever. Who wants to
tell
Lucas what's been going on?
We killed the dragon thing, and we rested up, and we did a bit of exploration.
Leveled up.
And Buggie has just gone ethereal, and that was it, really.
And what's the sort of green splat in the middle of this room?
That,
Parker.
Lucas, is Charlgar, or was.
That was Parker.
That was Charlgar.
I think there was a bit more, though, wasn't there? There was this cage, you can see,
yes,
in a cabin full of carrion crawlers.
I thought Charlgar fell in a pit or something was the last that I was there.
Oh, really? Was
Charlgar fell in the pit of green slime.
God, you have missed
that
some
was
stuff.
Well, it seems like, I don't know. I mean, I just think with this combat
ago.
just took forever, eons ago. I mean, it just seemed to go forever.
But we got the information out of him that we needed, right? About something about the key being with Mother Worm or something. Do I remember that correctly?
Yes, that is exactly right. He's told you that the key that he stole and tried to frame the Tiamical Nul Shadar, who are the guardians of the vault, tried to frame them with the theft of the key. But actually, he had the key, and he says it's with Mother Worm, and you'll never get your hands on it. It is certain death. Your sense is that the direction you're going in is taking you towards Mother Worm. You're just not quite sure how far towards or how far you've got to go.
Right.
The chamber that Charlgar seemed to be using as a kind of bedroom has got a fire burning in the grate to the south.
With a hearth spirit in it.
With a hearth spirit in it. Acid green flames and tendrils of smoke wisp about the chamber. To the north of the chamber, you turn a corner and you can keep going to the east, and the room just ends at a precipice. It opens up into a dark space, the dimensions of which you can only guess, but it seems immense. Affixed to the near wall of this giant cave is a cage that you can step into. You think walking around in it would be a little bit difficult because, as it were, the grid size is such that if you're a small or medium creature, you think you'd have to gingerly work your way across, a bit like walking along the rafters in an attic. That kind of idea.
So the bottom of the cage is also cage. It's not proper floor.
Yes, it's cage.
Right.
Crawling all over the outside of the cage are great green carrion crawlers. And from the sound at the edge of the precipice, you think that there are uncountable numbers of carrion crawlers out there in the darkness. Now, other thing to tell you about. You think you've identified the operation of the lever that drops the pit and probably drops the portcullis in the corridor, the trapped corridor that you headed down to get here. Scaly has found another lever right next to this balcony cliff edge thing. Nobody has really inspected it or dared do anything with it.
No.
Burple and Parker I think they had a bit of a look in the southern part of the room. Sessions and Scaly have been heading a bit further east. Sessions obviously floating up on the sweepstake. Buggie, as a result of leveling up, Lucas, I understand that you haven't leveled up. So next time or whenever it is you get time to have a...
While we're playing.
Yeah, have a look while we're playing. When we take a little bit of a break, you rest up or do something, we can have a look at that. Buggie took etherealness as a spell And Buggie has gone ethereal. Whatever's been happening with Buggie has been happening in the broom cupboard.
It's really annoying.
Anything else before we kick on? Is there anything I haven't covered? Hello, readers, by the way. Hello, readers.
No, I think we're good.
Well, broom cupboard it is.
Yeah.
Cheerio.
So,
Right.
if you remember, you went straight up through the floor. You found a little area that's directly above where all of the other guys have been. So it's a bit like hotel rooms, one balcony above the other. There was a little kind of dead-end corridor full of bits of rubbish and bits of burlap and some weird things that looked a bit like stretchers and just junk. There was a passageway that went west and then headed diagonally southwest. You padded down it and you encountered a chamber. In that chamber were 3 or 4 those that wait in a state of some weird kind of catatonic stupor. The other thing that you noticed was that there was a very bizarre figure. She's a dwarf. She's wearing a weird patched together work smock of kind of bits of pilfered leather. What's the word I'm looking for?
Salvaged.
Yeah, salvaged scraps of material and leather and so forth. She's wearing a crushed and wonky stovepipe hat. She's got a belt with loads of kind of tools and receptacles and stuff dangling off it. She looks like a kind of alchemist or chemist or scientist or something. She was looking at a crystal ball, which is in the southeastern corner of this chamber that she's in. This chamber is medium size, runs east to west, but it's got alcoves, 3 to the north, 3 to the south. And she was looking at Burple and Parker from a point of view that looks like it's, well, somewhere in that chamber downstairs. CCTV is kind of what we're thinking, what we're talking. Right. She ran through you, Buggie. Obviously, she's completely oblivious to your existence. Back towards, there's a lever right next to that upper balcony. You're not quite sure what it does. You think it might have something to do with the cage, but you don't know if it has any other function.
Yeah, it's going to drop the bottom out of the cage, almost certainly.
The cage has got cables that run into the cave wall, but if you recall, that lever has got many positions. It's more like a gear stick. So you're not quite sure how many functions that lever has. Anyway, she seems to be scooting up towards it, or just to look over the edge maybe. We're going to pick up with that moment.
The other end of that room with the niches, was there a door there, or is it basically a dead end?
You think there's an opening at the end of that chamber in the middle of the western wall.
The other thing is the crystal ball was just resting. Theoretically, I could pick it up.
The crystal ball seems affixed to this stone plinth.
Oh, fixed. So I don't think I can pick it up and shove it in my bag of holding or something.
You haven't tried to move it, but it's not just kind of resting on top.
Oh, okay.
We're going to have initiative, but I'm just going to set you up as to where we are. So she runs through you. She calls back in common.
Let me know when, and whether up or down.
And at that instant, all those that wait that you can see in the chamber snap out of their reverie. And one of them, Fangs, who's standing next to you, starts studying the crystal ball. Let us have initiative.
Oh, right. So it does look like she was talking to them.
Yes.
And basically she's asked them to look at the crystal ball because they look like grunts. She wasn't talking to someone I can't see further down the corridor who's like an
well, you can't
boss,
see
like
any. These are all the people you can see. And the moment she barked a command, they all snapped out of their catatonic state.
14.
So we're going to start with them on 16. She scuttles off away from you, Buggy. She disappears out of sight, round the corner, cackling as she goes.
Round the corner with a dead end, or
she's run up the corridor that you've just come down, back the way you came.
Yeah, she's probably by the machine.
Fangs, who's standing next to you, takes a step towards the crystal ball and is obviously studying it. And as Fangs studies the crystal ball, the view in the crystal ball changes. And instead of looking at Burple and Parker, you're looking towards the cage and the cave through the northern part of the room you've left behind. And you can see Sessions and Scaly as they are studying the cage and the giant abyssal cave. They look oblivious.
Yeah.
And can you give me a perception check, please?
20.
The view through this scrying whatever is slightly different to just a straightforward view of the chamber. You can see outlined with a sort of very faint tracery a square of floor that's taking up the easternmost end of that room that leads onto the cage. The block that Scaly and Sessions are standing in. Also, just at the very periphery of the right-hand part of your view, you can just make out the very edge of the sludgy remains of Chalgar.
Yeah.
It's like a fisheye lens. Likewise, the ceiling of a section of room where Chalgar's remains are lying, like 3x6, there are marks on the ceiling, maybe tiny little apertures, kind of tracing around in a box-like thing, but also like a grid within.
Yeah, so basically that's a portcullis trap, and the scaly and whatever are standing on a pit trap, probably just in front of the cage.
It's your turn on 14.
Yeah, I'm going to move up to the woman, give her a nasty fright, I think.
You run round the corner.
Yeah.
You can see the dwarf is standing at the lever. It looks like she's poised.
I can move up to her in a move action. Ethereal. Then I'm switching off the etherealness.
So you appear
next to her. I'm right behind her. I mean, I just suddenly appear behind her.
Okay, you appear.
Switch on the smoke.
As a bonus action.
So it actually extends, this is what I was thinking, it actually extends out into the big chamber. So I'm thinking that Scaly and whatever will be able to look up and see the smoke near the ceiling.
You want to have your attack on this creature?
Yeah, so I'm going to bash advantage because it's smoky.
Yeah.
First attack. 29.
29 is a hit.
Okay, the first one does 27 points of damage.
Yes.
The next attack.
There's a shriek from the creature.
30, that's a hit.
Yes.
And I do another... Ooh, wow, 21 points of damage.
Wow, that's a lot of damage.
And then I'm going to move slightly round to the side of her.
Mm-hmm.
Can I see where the smoke's going, if the smoke's going out of the...
The edge of the smoke is now out about 15 feet from where you are. It's actually creeping down the wall towards the level below.
Yeah, I think I'll stay in the broom cupboard. I quite like the idea. I don't know what they're doing.
Yeah.
And they don't really know what I'm doing. They can just see some smoke.
You don't know if you've just imagined it, but as you were fading away from the border ethereal to the prime material plane, the ethereal plane is a kind of misty grey environment. It's like it's made out of vapor or smoke. You thought you saw to your east, therefore out into the cave, sort of hanging in space, you noticed an area of darker smoke, a different texture to the border ethereal, just sort of idly billowing towards you.
Oh, shit. Oh.
Just sort of wafting about. Right, I'm going to go back into the other room.
Okay, I'm going to stay in the broom cupboard.
I'll see you in a bit.
Almost rude. Oh, wait a minute.
Yep.
Right.
Well, we were about to leave.
I'm sorry. If Buggie chooses to go ethereal, what can I do?
It's just selfish, that's all.
Punish him, I would suggest.
Chaps,
but, you know.
I don't know what you've been doing while you've been waiting.
Been talking about pizzas.
We've been discussing many things.
An instant ago, coming from the direction of the giant cave, but you think maybe slightly up as well, you've heard a weird, grating screech. Give me an insight check, all of you.
Insight check, okay?
Okay.
Right. Got a 15.
Oh, I got 29. I'm pretty good
Sessions.
at insight.
It's clear to you that it is the startled sound of somebody in fear and in pain.
Mm-hmm.
Up.
Coming from where?
From the cliff edge, from the balcony, what I'm going to call the balcony.
Yeah.
That way, out into the great cave, but from above you. Scaly, give me a perception check.
Does it sound very buggy?
A perception, another one I'm really good at.
Don't think Sessions, you're... Okay. Okay, fine. Sessions, you're floating up, aren't you? Okay, I don't think that works then. What would you like to do?
Do you want to go and check out the hearth spirit before we pull the lever?
Can we see it? Can anyone with dark vision see anything in that room beyond the balcony and the cage? Is there any light in that room?
There is a dim flickering light. There is a brand made out of twisted together tree branches or saplings affixed to the southeastern corner of the cage, which is giving a dim flickering, like a kind of dying campfire kind of illumination.
Okay, I'll move up and I'm going to have a peer into the flying up near the top of the
cage area.
The cage, Where's the ceiling? There's an arch or something you said that
the
goes
ceiling
through.
in the main chamber behind you, I think, is 20 to 25 feet, giant size. This archway is not quite that high. You don't have dark vision, but you can see the extent of the cage.
Okay.
You can see the cave wall to your left and right stretching off into darkness. You can't see what is beyond the edge of the cage. Of course, you've got these things crawling all over it. But, Sessions, critically, if you look up, give me a perception check. Okay, 25.
That's 25.
There is smoke, billowing smoke issuing from above you. So if you're standing on the balcony of your hotel room, it looks like there's a fire in the room above you in the hotel. If you see what I mean. There is smoke billowing out.
Buggy smoke.
It's annoying. It's annoying looking smoke.
Oh, there you go.
I recognise this smoke. It's Buggy again,
you can
isn't it?
smell bonfire smoke now. You're standing this close, I'm going to say. And there is the hint maybe of the occasional autumn leaf spiralling out into the dark.
Axe of the woodsman.
Yeah. Okay, that seems like that's going to be very annoying.
Annoying again.
Into a trap.
Let's keep an eye on what's going
You're
on
a
then.
small creature, right, Sessions? I'm going to say that you can, not freely, but with effort, can pass through the gaps in this cage.
Okay, good to know.
The apertures are small enough to prevent the carrion crawlers from getting in, but they are large enough for it to be difficult ground for small and medium creatures to move. That, for me, tells me that you can put a foot through and fall or stumble. And since you are only, 2.5, 3 feet tall?
Something like that, yeah.
You could wriggle your way through. Scaly?
Good to know that I could if I wanted.
Not so much.
And where the smoke which is above us, I can see the bottom of, so it's 20...
Right, you can see it issuing from above
So I
you.
can estimate how far away Buggy must be from me.
Yeah, I mean, you can add it all together. It's about 30-something feet above you.
The smoke, the bottom of the smoke.
No, the bottom of the smoke is more like 20-something feet above you.
It's about 20 foot across. So it's about 40 foot
Well, there
up.
we go.
Well, that's interesting. I don't want to go into the cage.
Who does?
Who does? I'll relay this to everyone else.
I think what we should do is roll for initiative. We'll let Sessions have that. But you're kind of aware that something is going on. So why don't you guys roll for initiative? Sessions, you can get a free pass on that one.
Okay. Do you want me to roll as well?
Yeah, sure. Then we can slot you into the order.
Oh, I see.
7.
13.
Hold on. 9.
Parker's on 9, Scaly's on 13, Sessions is on 7.
Buggy's on 14.
That's metagaming.
That is metagaming.
Let's do a Scaly and then Parker, and Sessions has already gone, and then we'll jump into a new round. I think that seems like the fairest way of doing it.
Well, Scaly is going to do nothing, because there's nothing to do apart from... He's going to obviously unsheath his massive chopper,
Yeah.
and then
You
possibly...
hear the shriek. Sessions basically gets the...
I've told everyone.
Yeah.
How far away is the shriek? Where's the smoke? What's going on?
Is that it? Shouting questions but not doing anything?
And then going to nip back round the...
Oh, we've got to add Burple as well.
Nip
We've got to
round
add
the,
Burple.
round the corner. Oh, yes. I think it's only fair.
What's Burple's initiative? Who's got his character sheet?
I'm opening it now.
I think it's only fair that Lucas plays Burple after what Dan did to Parker.
What's Burple's initiative modifier?
+5.
Oh, so Burple's at 20.
Yeah. Lucas,
Okay.
after Dan's abuse of Parker,
Yeah,
I would say this to his
you're
face.
quite entitled to run him like a probe.
You're quite entitled to run like a pro.
Run him like a probe. I'm certain that we should do a role-playing game where we build character classes that are based around how people get used rather than the classes. So definitely have a probe as a class.
Mr. President.
A Mr. President.
Yeah.
A probe. Thumpy.
Thumpy.
You get the general idea.
Yes.
The probe would actually get benefits for being stuck out by themselves and getting into trouble and triggering traps.
Yeah.
Right? There would
Lots
be
of sneaky, stealthy stuff.
there'd be a reward mechanism.
Yeah.
If you trigger a trap, of course, you've got decent skills to avoid traps, to jump back, just like a rogue.
Yeah.
But you get some kind of tangible experience, progression, whatever, material benefit from triggering traps. You want to trigger traps. You fight better by yourself than with other people. Unlike all of that synergy stuff. If no ally is within 60 feet, you attack at advantage, that kind of thing. Anyway, that's enough of my weird thoughts. So, Scaly, you're kind of shouting, but you're not doing anything apart from running round towards Burple.
I'm running around a bit towards Burple.
Parker on 9. You've heard a shriek.
Well, I'm also just going to move round, and I will...
Where are you moving round to?
A little bit north of where Sessions is, but not right in front of the door, just in case there's some kind of fireball goes off.
We've
in
got
that
effectively a section of room that runs left to right,
which is
or
a
east to
slightly-
west.
Yes.
And you're standing kind of tucked against the north wall of the right-hand side of that area. Fine.
Yeah.
Sorry, readers.
So I
this
can
is making much
back
sense.
up
but hey.
Sessions if there's anything needed to be done, but not necessarily in line of fire. Have we had a long rest in the meantime?
Yeah, you should be all rested up and everything.
Well, I will also cast Longstrider then.
On 20, top of the next round, it is Burple. Burple is standing in that kind of interstitial area near Chalgar's remains.
Interstitial.
I think you should go into the cage. If he goes into the cage, I'll throw the switch. What do you reckon?
I need to read his character sheet.
He tends to hang back because, he's a bit of a coward. Maybe he'll go up to just behind Scaly.
So you're standing, as it were, with your backs against the wall round the corner from Sessions and the cliff edge, like two FBI agents about to turn the corner and get into... Yeah, okay.
Just to check something.
Yes.
Has Purple cast invisibility on everyone? He seems to have used a 6th level spell. If he does 6th level, he gets 1 additional target for each level above 2nd.
So he can get everybody.
Yes.
So you're all invisible.
That would be my guess.
Fabulous.
At the moment.
Yeah.
So all of this sort of coordination that you've been doing between yourselves, I'm presuming you're shouting at each other about where you are.
I presume so.
Whispering loudly.
Fine.
What the absolute fuck? How did he do that?
What?
Burple Herbish has a plus 17 athletics. Oh, right. Strength of 21.
Yes, he's got a belt of something giant strength. No. During that extended magic shopping sojourn in Evenstar, he bought a belt of something. Right.
All giant strength.
Anyway, so Burple has joined Scaly somehow,
bonus
miraculously.
+6. This is ridiculous. Oh, no, actually, I've got that.
Absolutely outrageous. Wait a minute.
Actually, hold on.
Oops.
That's like my dad. Where on? No, here it is. Burple and Scaly somehow have found themselves invisible together.
That's me every day, that is.
Yeah.
We're not going to worry about this too much. We're just going to keep going. That was Burple. On 16,
it's them.
Stuff happens.
Yay. That's what we're here for.
The first thing that happens...
All right, I might have said that too early.
Is that lancing down from the ceiling above Scaly and Burple...
Oh, you're shitting me.
...comes a portcullis. Drops all around you.
You are shitting me.
Oh.
We just happened to be in the wrong place.
Yeah, and I did watch that with deep satisfaction.
Yeah, I bet you did, you bastard.
And a fine vapor or mist starts to spray from the ceiling.
I'm bored with this.
Can Scaly and Burple both give me... I'm going to give you a little bit of a peek behind the curtain because it's just such a nice name for a trap. This is called the Brain Juice Shower Trap.
Lovely.
Can you give me a DC 18 Constitution save at disadvantage, please?
Oh, dear.
Do you get +3 on saves from Scaly?
Yes.
Anyway, whatever. Scaly's just rolled a 4. So
who's going to roll for Burple?
You say at disadvantage?
Yes,
at disadvantage.
So I'm going to re-roll with an alt dice. Yes.
You're going to take an alt dice. 25. You don't even need the D10. You've made it. Okay, fine. Yeah. So the alt dice saved you. Right, Burple. DC
Burple now.
18 Constitution save at disadvantage. First, let's get a 17. Wow, he's
17. Do I get +3 for being
Yes,
near?
you do. You've made
Scaly?
it. So you have to roll again because it's a disadvantage.
Okay, hold on.
Oh, it makes it.
You make it.
Brilliant.
You're both okay.
Yes.
God for that.
Okay. You are trapped in a cage, but you are not paralysed.
That's useful.
And I need to jump into the broom cupboard.
Okay.
I'll be as quick as I can. Hello.
Hello.
It's the turn of this dwarven thing. There was a shout from around the corner, from back where you came. You assume from one of those that wait. And then she sort of goes click, click with this lever like it's a kind of gear stick. And she cackles away. And then she turns to you. I'm going to make a dice roll. 4 to 6, okay. So she runs. You've got an attack of opportunity. She starts running back the way she came, back towards the room with those that wait.
Okay, I'll have an attack of opportunity, which is advantage. So 28
is a hit.
14 points of damage.
Okay.
Some of it's radiant. I don't know if that's relevant.
Radiant. So, she looks pretty resilient. She looks like a tough old...
Oh, shit. Okay.
Little thing. And she runs off and out of sight round the corner from you.
Did I see what she did to the levers? Which way she moved them?
Yes, you can see what she's done. You know, it's like a gear lever, this thing. So she sort of clicked it over once to the left and then up once.
Trouble is, I don't know if I do that, I seal the pit that the people have fallen down. I don't I presume.
Well, that's a very good question. It's your turn on 14. What do you want to do?
Okay, so I'll start moving back the way
You're following her.
I'm following her, yeah. I've moved 30 foot westwards.
You get to the corner of the corridor. So now it turns 35, to your left, it turns south.
40,
and you can see her in the threshold of the chamber.
50.
There are 3 those that wait. They're looking a little bit nonplussed as she runs towards them.
Right, I think I'm going to do an insect plague. Swarming, biting locusts fill a 20-foot radius sphere centered on a point you choose within range. The sphere reigns for the duration. Area is lightly obscured. Area is difficult terrain. When the area appears, each creature must make a Constitution save or take 4d10. I'll do it at 6th level. So it's going to do 5d10 damage. I'm going to center it. I'm going to get her
and the 2 that you can see.
Yes.
It might be that it spreads and gets people that you can't see.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right, so it's a DC 16 Constitution save.
Got it.
Or take 5d10 damage.
Okay, run for those that wait. Is it half damage if you save? And her...
Oh, shit. 15 points of damage. Save to half. Then I'm going to move... So I'm sneaking back round the corner, back towards the levers. But that cloud is staying there. It's concentration and it lasts 10 minutes, and if they're still in it, a creature must also make the saving throw when it enters the spell for the first time, or it's on a turn, or it ends its turn there.
I got it. Well, there's a sound of discomfort. Extreme discomfort.
I'm going to use my dice. That was such a bad dice roll. Can I roll that again?
No, you can only roll a d20 again. You can't roll the damage dice again.
I rolled a 1, a 2, a 3, a 4, and a 5, and I
D10. Certain symmetry. Done?
Yeah.
I'll see you in a bit. Unless you want to come back.
No.
See you in a bit.
Right.
Yeah. You're back. Is he dead yet?
Give me a perception check, all of you.
Perception.
Oh, enormous. 3.
Nothing. 3. 22
I guess mine was
purple.
13.
Okay, 25. Okay, that's good enough. Between you, you hear the sound of stuff going on above you, you think, drifting through the aperture that leads into the big cave. Perhaps the sound of discomfort, some squeals, and the smoke drifts away.
Do we hear the sound of
in which direction
little feet retreating rapidly?
Well, I mean, it just recedes.
Like my hairline.
Yeah. On 13, it's scaly.
Scaly is going to do a misty step.
Okay.
And you can misty step 30 foot.
Yes.
So he's going to go and stand next to Parker. Oh, no, wait a minute. Sorry. Having spoken about this to Graham only 10 minutes ago, he might just wait until Burple does a... What's it called, Graham?
Oh, Dimension Door.
Yeah, Dimension Door, and then you can take Scaly with him.
Okay, so you're delaying.
Waiting.
Just standing around. There's no delay, is there?
No, there is no delay.
Parker on 9.
Don't think there's very much I can do either.
Sessions on 7.
I can squeeze through the railings, yeah?
Yeah, you can squeeze through, yeah.
So if I squeeze my head through and look up, there's another aperture above us somewhere?
Yes, you could squeeze through one of the gaps in the roof of the cage, yeah.
To be above the cage, yeah?
To go into the cage, you don't need to squeeze through anything because there's no door.
How far up is the top of the cage?
I'm going to say it's level with the bottom of the balcony of the hotel room. So I'm going to say it's about 30 feet up.
Right, so the bottom of the cage is level with the floor. And it goes 30 feet
with the
up.
floor you're standing on.
Yeah.
That's exactly it. Yes, precisely.
Right.
Graham's desperately waiting for me to tell him that he can't get any further than so-and-so. Or
No. Okay, so let's float into the cage. I'm still invisible. Float up and see if I can work out where the upper room is. And then I'll float back down to where I am.
You can fly up and you can see that effectively level with the roof of the cage, there is another balcony. But it's when I say balcony, I mean edge of whatever. Because there's no actual... But there's a corridor that leads straight in to the rock face, 30 feet above you and level with the top of the cage. And you can see that vestigial elements of smoke maybe still just receding into that opening.
Okay.
But there's no light coming from up there. It seems to be where the shrieking and discomfort sounds are coming from.
Yeah, I'll fly back down to where I started and report.
On 20, it's Burple.
Burple's going to do a thingy.
It's going to do
a dimension door.
Is this appropriate? Oh, I see.
Dimension door. Yeah, I was just checking if there's anything else he could do. It's a
It
fourth
would
level
fantastically
spell.
annoy Paul if he was to do something else.
And Burple, yeah.
No, I mean in terms of moving us both.
Hold up.
through
Was it start your round? Oh, no, I may have missed a saving throw. That would be so annoying. No, it's not. Okay, fine.
I think it's Dimension Door it is.
Brilliant.
You think it's
Okay.
Dimension Door it is. Okay, so where are you Dimension Dooring to?
Either side of Parker.
Yeah.
So all together next to
Yeah.
Parker. When you do so, obviously, Burple, you become visible,
Oh, well.
but Parker and Scaly do not.
Maybe we should
16.
mark who's still invisible then.
All right. I will put a
Saving throw.
marker on.
Okay. Right, I'm sorry.
Oh,
I'm going to be as quick as
you're
I
going
can,
back,
but I'm
aren't
going
you?
back.
Oh,
See you in a tick.
all right.
Right. On 14, it's you, Buggy.
Do I hear anything?
Give me a perception check.
22.
You hear the sound of movement and you hear the sound of discomfort and shrieking.
Okay, do you want me to roll some extra damage just in case someone's still in the plague?
Roll some damage.
Anyone's in there takes a bit more like it.
Almost more like it.
38. Save to half, DC 16 con.
Got it. You hear the sound of a couple of things moving and you hear the sound of things thudding to the floor.
Okay, I'm moving back over to the machine, the contraction with the levers.
Yes.
No, actually, I might move to the ledge and peer down. Can I see what's going on down there?
You can see, as it were, the hotel balcony below you. You can maybe hear some sounds of movement, but not really very much. There's nobody out there. You're level with the roof of the cage. There are carrion crawlers that seem to be suddenly taking notice of you, and they're crawling over the roof of the cage. You don't know what their blind sight is like or what their senses are like, but you can see their little feelers twitching in the air, and they're interested in the scent of something edible.
I'm still in smoke, though.
Yeah, you think that that's what's keeping you safe.
Oh, shit. You mean they can come over towards me, over the top of the
I mean, they're all
cage,
over the
or-
place. Yes, if they were to work out exactly where you were and start to move towards you, yes. At the moment, I haven't given them an initiative.
I thought there was a void above the cage with the chains going up, but they're filling it, are they?
You're standing in a position where you could just step out onto the roof of the cage. The only
Yes.
thing keeping the carrion crawlers away from the inside of the cage is the cage. They're crawling all over the outside of it.
Oh, right, so they can crawl all towards
Yes.
me.
Yes.
They're very close to me, then, are they?
Well, I'm going to say there's a couple within sort of 10, 15 feet. Their little tentacles are wiggling about, but the smoke means they can't
No
see you.
doors.
There's no door. No, it's just an opening.
Okay, so I'll move back.
If you run back towards the room where you cast the insect plague, all you can see is the insect plague.
It sounds like a few things have died in the...
Very possibly. You heard the thudding of bodies.
Oh, I'll keep it up for a minute. I don't know whether I should play with these levers.
You think you can remember what they did. You're not certain.
Well, it was left
You might-
and up, wasn't it?
You'd be making an intelligence check at advantage to exactly reset the lever to where it was when, because you're quite absolutely certain exactly where it was in the starting position. Now you think
The trouble
about
is they might have fallen in the pit and I'm just sealing it over the top.
it. Could be.
I'm not sure
Could
it's
be
a good
that.
idea.
Yeah.
How many feet down is it from here down to the bottom
The
of
floor
cage
of the
or
room
bottom?
below. It's 30 foot from the bottom of your feet to the floor of the room below.
Okay, I just check I have a 50
And you
foot
reckon you
long
could
rope.
squeeze through the bars of the cage because you're a little hobbit.
Okay, what I'm going to do is take a rope out,
Yeah.
tie it to one of the bars at the top of the cage and just drop
Yeah.
it down so someone below could climb up.
Fine.
Then I'm moving away from the carrion crawlers a bit, just
So you're
back into the corridor.
backing up a bit.
westwards.
Just so that, yeah. Okay. Fine.
Yeah, watching the corridor in case anything
yeah.
comes out of that insect plague.
Okay.
That's it.
Yeah. I'll see you in a tick.
The food is just out of this
I
world.
can imagine.
Scaly on 13.
Ooh.
You all see a rope drop down inside the cage, quite close to the edge,
Yeah.
like it's been looped around the top of the cage or something and just dropping down.
Okay.
Drops down far enough.
That you could hold on to it and climb up it. Maybe
Yeah.
that's a sign. Scaly's going to do that. He's fed up.
Bear in mind that Scaly is not small enough to climb through the gaps in the cage at
That's
the top.
true.
Yeah,
Yeah.
In which case, and there's no.
and there's no
You're going to have to throw the lever.
Which lever are you going to throw?
It's a big button in the room saying "Do not press."
But hold on a minute. Does that mean that basically Uncle Buggy is about to abseil
It could
down
be.
this rope?
Good question.
The only thing about opening the lever
Yeah.
is basically we're just going to get swamped by carrion
Do you
crawlers.
think?
Well, I'm wondering whether there's something we could do to mitigate that before we pull the lever. Like,
Why don't you...
drop a fireball or some kind of wall of force, or...
We could look at the cage itself and see if there is on the other side of the cage, is there any form of mechanism? Does it look like the cage wall would drop? Go into the cage and see if the cage is in any way movable. Is there any mechanism by which it moves? Is it hanging by chains?
Well, surely we can see that from where we are.
Not from where we are. I'll go into the cage. I'm just going to go and have a look.
I've been in the cage.
But you can't get into the cage.
I can get into the cage. There's nothing. There is
the front door to the cage is...
So the bars are too small.
No, the bars are too small at the top of the cage and the other sides, but it's open to our side.
Okay, then I misunderstood that.
So I can walk into the cage, I can have a look around and just see... Graham, you went in, but I don't think that was kind of looked at.
No, it wasn't mentioned, so...
Right, well, let's check that first.
I think that's what I'm going to do.
The only other problem with pulling the lever is it could be the pit. The lever could easily be over the pit trap that we're all standing on.
Yeah, there's a million... Yeah, could be all of them things. That's why I'm going to go and check out to see if the cage itself is looking like it can be mechanically raised or lowered by some means.
Yeah, but the one doesn't necessarily exclude the other. Do you know what I mean?
You're right, but it kind of shifts the odds. Right, Scaly is going to go into the cage and look to see if it's hanging by chains, if it looks like it's something that can be moved up and down. Is it attached to the wall in a way that means it will slide up and down the wall?
Give me an investigation check. I think it's clear what you can see and can't see, so what we're doing is representing your ability to understand what you're seeing.
Okay. Oh, I've got a 5. I mean, all of my dice rolls are shit.
Okay, so no, that's not the end of the world. So you can see that there are cables, hawsers, steel or iron or something, running from the top of the cage into apertures in the cave wall above you. You can also see that there's something going on with the roof of the cage. You can't exactly determine how it might operate or what it might do, but it looks like there's basically a gate in the roof of the cage, the center of the roof of the cage. You don't know if it's connected to any kind of mechanism. That's what you can see.
Okay.
And there's a rope.
Yes. The rope, is it just disappearing up over the ledge above?
No, it's been looped around one strut of the cage, one bar of the cage above you.
And dropping down into...
Like somebody has stepped out onto the roof of the cage
and looped a rope
run a loop of rope around one of the transverse iron bars that form the roof of the cage and let it dangle down. Okay. Literally like that.
Oh, but that person is either now gone away
there's
or
nobody
they're
there.
invisible.
No, there's nobody there.
Oh, very
And of course you're invisible, Scaly. So anybody that was there wouldn't be able to see you anyway.
Right, I think that's enough from me.
Okay, on 9 it's Parker.
Why didn't you come in and do the same kind of... but just have a better check than I did?
When you come in and roll higher. That's what you're saying.
Right.
Yeah.
Come in here and roll higher.
I mean, you can't roll lower than me.
I can try that. I got reasonably good.
I mean, my
I don't have very good investigation.
Investigation is crap anyways, and I rolled badly.
It's purple who has the best investigation.
Yeah, well, what do you want to do though, Parker? Do you want to
Okay, Parker will... No, I will also move up. Well, I won't go into the cage, but I'll move up.
You'll stand at the edge, you'll look up.
The edge, and I will have a look. And can you also tell me the locations of all the carrion crawlers?
Oh, I mean, there are literally 50 crawling around the outside of the cage. I'm not going to put...
not underneath the floor. They're
yeah. They crawl.
No, I know they're not in, but then...
They can crawl on vertical surfaces, just like you. They are crawling like spiders or, I don't know, geckos or whatever they are, along the base of the cage, on the roof of the cage, around the walls of the cage.
On the outside?
On the outside. It's a shark cage. Think of it as a shark cage.
Yeah. But if you're walking around on the top, on the floor of the cage, they still can't. They can't get
you don't know guarantees. Nobody has done what Scaly has done. We're going to find out later.
Oh,
it doesn't look like they can fit through the apertures, the grid. But you don't know whether or not, for example, they might be able to reach in with their tentacles, and also you don't know whether or not they know that anything's happening. I mean, Scaly's invisible. You're invisible. You can't see any immediate. You can't see any immediate reaction from the carrion crawlers on the outside of the cage to Scaly's presence, but maybe it takes them a bit of time to sniff him out. Should we move on to sessions?
Yeah, you can move on. Yeah,
sessions. What would you like to do?
Maybe I've misunderstood this room a little bit.
World's most complicated room, which makes no sense to me, and I get to read it.
The cage.
Yes.
The bottom of the cage is on the floor or is suspended above the floor?
The depths beneath the bottom of the cage are unknowable.
Right.
Imagine that you are Again, I'm doing the
Looking
letterbox
over
and
a
the cage
cliff.
inside the letterbox.
Yeah.
You're standing in the letterbox of a front door, and it's one of those letterboxes that has got a cage inside it to catch the post as it goes in.
Yeah.
God knows what the distance is from the bottom of that cage to the doormat. You can't see that far. Could be hundreds of feet, could be a mile. Bits of this chasm, go down 2 miles.
And the carrion crawlers are then on the walls or hanging onto the cage somewhere.
Your sense is that they are on the walls of the cave around you, not that you can see very much of those walls, and that they are crawling all around the outside of the cage. It is only the cage that is stopping the carrion crawlers getting to you.
Right.
They're challenge 1/4 rating creatures. 17th and 18th level, epic heroes. This is embarrassing.
Where we are, basically.
That's why I was wondering
Should I tweak
about
the lever?
a couple of fireballs. Well, not while Scaly's in there. Let Scaly come back first.
I admire your courage.
Or I could float up above the cage and see what's the passageway.
Mm-hmm.
But no one else
That
can...
would be an option. We can see whether...
I see
Buggie
where Graham is going with this. Is that no one else can follow, and that is a very unsessionsy.
Yeah, it's
thing
not a
to
place
do.
that I particularly, as sessions, want to be. So presumably Buggie did it by going ethereal,
Good question.
assuming that was Buggy.
He went ethereal, and you've not seen him since. For all you know, Buggy could be dead. You saw some smoke briefly, but that's gone now.
I'm going to move to the lever, ready to throw the lever at an appropriate junction.
Right, so there's a lever, readers, just on the wall, just inside the opening.
How many settings does the lever have, Mike?
That lever has got, it's in the down position, and it can go up. You don't know if you can kind of pause it in the middle. But
yeah. Okay. Maybe I'll tie a piece of rope around it so I can pull it up at distance.
Okay, you can do that. Burple on 20, top of a new turn. Let's keep moving.
I think...
Burple want to go and check mechanisms.
Who got the cage that dropped on us? That's an interesting question.
It's a very interesting question, Graham. In fact, really, the only question.
Where is the lever and who did it? Maybe that's what this lever...
There's a lever there.
No, but that does the pit trap
Yeah.
here. And possibly the cage here.
But is it also necessarily
Unless they're doing it from upstairs with kind of like murder holes or something.
To refresh your memory, the lever just inside the door, readers, this is so impenetrable for you. The first lever you came across as you got into this room, having traversed the green slime pit, seemed to have multiple positions. A more complex lever that you think may have operated both the portcullis trap in the corridor preceding and the pit trap next to it. But the lever that you are standing next to, Sessions, seems much less complicated. It looks like it's a binary situation. Honestly, as I said a while ago, just don't worry too much about the levers.
Mm-hmm.
Anything from Burple? Is he going to hang tough, do nothing?
I'm wondering whether a couple of fireballs nicely placed on the cage would not maybe give us a round or two before carrion crawlers resume.
But are we trying to go up or down?
I don't think... Well, I could be wrong, but I what Burple could do, I tried to do and failed, is if Burple moved up to next to Parker, Burple could take another look at the cage and see if it looks like the cage is trapped enough so that something would swing open to allow the carrion crawlers through.
Dan's theory was that the entire cage moved like a lift, but nobody
that's what I'm
managed
thinking.
to establish the truth of that. But
That's what I'm thinking that the lever is.
Well, if you weren't in the cage, we could throw the lever and see what happens.
Yeah, I'm waiting for my round to be able to get out of the cage so we can throw the lever.
so Burple's going to wait and do nothing?
Hang on. Let's go with the assumption that this is a lift, right? And then you flip the lever and it moves up a floor.
Yeah.
Then what that's going to mean is the cage has gone up, right? But it's going to mean that we are now then standing effectively on a ledge, looking over the abyss, with lots and lots of carrion crawlers on the wall, which are then all going to crawl in. So I'm wondering whether one option might be to put a wall of force across the opening, then pull the lever, and then effectively that works like as a lift door, and then the lift could go up, and then we can see that it works, but we won't have to deal with the carrion crawlers.
I think the lift goes down.
If it goes down, what I'm saying is then we're not going to be exposed to then having to deal with a whole bunch of carrion crawlers. I mean, I'm not saying that's a big deal to do that necessarily, but it's going to be annoying.
Well, I get your point. It makes sense to me. Let's do
Everybody
it.
would become visible if Burple did that.
Why? Oh,
Because concentration spell. Yeah.
Why doesn't Purple just...
Which is something I massively encourage, because I don't think the invisibility is helping you in the least.
It never does.
No.
It slows everything down.
Right, suggestion would be the following. Scaly, you come out of the cage.
Yeah.
Then we all grab onto the wall, just in case the lever is not the cage, but it's a pit trap.
Yeah.
Then cast a wall of force across the opening so that we don't have to deal with any greeblies.
Yeah.
Then pull the lever.
I would pull the lever, and if we think we need the wall of force, you can stick the wall of force in.
Also a good point. That way we don't waste a spell.
Yeah.
So what happens with Burple's turn?
He's
We put the
nothing.
fox...
I
The
think he
fox in the
waits.
boat first. We get the fox across the
Purple
river.
waits.
Burple's doing nothing. Burple's doing nothing. Yeah?
Yes.
Yeah,
Burple's doing
nothing.
nothing. Okay, right. I'll see you in a minute. I'm just going to pop to the broom company. Hello. Right.
Okay.
You hear a very odd sound, Uncle Buggy. Can you give me an intelligence check?
So that's -1 and 9.
There is some weird mechanical rattly sound that reaches you from through the insect plague from some kind of distance, maybe from as far away as the far end of the chamber that you looked into before with the alcoves north and south. You can hear a kind of rattly, clunkety sound that rapidly diminishes and becomes quieter.
In front of me, on the other side
so
of the insect
through the insect plague.
Yeah.
What would you like to do on your turn, Uncle Buggy, on 14?
Well, if anybody was still in the insect plague, they would have taken some more damage.
Don't worry
this
about
round.
that. That's not... No.
Okay, so I will move towards the insect plague, and as I do, I'll dispel it.
From the threshold of the room, you can see 3 of those that wait. They're all dead.
Great.
Like they've been bitten to death by insects.
Lovely. And the crystal ball is still on the
It's there.
thing,
It's still doing its thing. It seems to be intermittently fading between different views of the complex of rooms below you. Like there's a view of the red door when we first came in. There's a view of the corridor and the atrium area where you first encountered the first portcullis. You get the general idea. At one point, it cycles round to a view of downstairs.
Yeah.
This is something that not maybe occurred to you, but it occurs to you now, is that you think all your companions are invisible, but you can see them all. It flips to a view that's looking into the cage from the far end of the room preceding the cage. And Parker is standing right on the threshold looking into the cage confusedly. You can see, using this view, your end of rope dangling down. You can see Scaly standing in the cage, also looking confused. You can see Sessions floating up near the lever that's just before the cave, a lever that you think might be something to do with these traps. He's got a bit of rope tied around that lever, but he's looking, again, like he doesn't know quite what to do. And Burple is there as well.
Right, and nobody's grabbed the rope that I dangled down.
No, they're just looking maybe a bit quizzically at it, trying to work out where it came from. You think. Give me an intelligence check. You don't need a very big number for this, which is lucky.
7.
Okay. It needs to be bigger than that.
So when I'm looking at the crystal ball,
Yes.
do I see anything in the other rooms that woman that just disappeared?
No,
down the
only
corridor?
views of rooms that you're already familiar with.
Okay, well I moved past the crystal ball and I've now moved 70 foot into the room. I can look a bit up the corridor in the west.
Okay, so a couple of things. First of all, cowering in the corner, as it were, of the last alcove on the right, as you look down the chamber, is one of those that wait. It looks like it's escaped the insect plague, and it looks like it's in a state of strange befuddlement. You can see the opening at the far end of this chamber, and you can see that it's a corridor that curves immediately off to the right. And in this corridor, there's some sort of strange something. Give me another intelligence check.
4.
No, there's something weird going on. The floor of this corridor, at regular intervals, there are like wooden planks laid out horizontally, like 1, 2, 3, 4, one after the other. And then joining them are some kind of, I don't know, is it like rails or something? And you can hear a kind of sound. It's so faint that it's almost imperceptible.
It's sloping down, is it? The corridor?
It is sloping down, yes.
Alright.
Give me an insight check.
+2 on this, 8. I'm not rolling very well.
Well, you can't tell what's going on with this one that waits, but it's slumped to its knees and it's shaking its head in a state of some kind of disbelief, disorientation. You can't tell what's going on with it, but it's on its knees. Anything else you want to do?
Yeah, so I've still got an action. I'm going to do a shatter spell on him.
Okay. What does that do?
It does the following damage.
Yep.
22 points of damage.
Does he get a saving throw or not?
A sudden loud ringing noise, painfully intense. Each creature then 10-foot radius sphere centered on that point. Con save DC 16, half damage.
Yeah, here we go. Okay, well, it looks like that's wounded it, and it reels, and it looks at you, and it says, no, we are slaves. And then we'll go back to the other room.
Back off.
Right, on 13, it's Scaly. You heard a very distant shout, something shouting, no, and maybe a weird rattling sound that sounded sort of semi-mechanical. What do you want to do with your turn?
I'm getting out of there, and
You're getting out of the cage?
I'm actually going to hold on to
Yes.
the other cage that dropped. Just on the outside, just going to hold on to one of the
The
bars.
cage that just dropped.
Yeah.
Can I give you a bit of advice,
Yes.
friend guide storyteller?
Yeah.
Your sense is that standing even within 5 feet of the cage, there is a
Okay.
risk that you will be hit by the vapor.
Okay,
You've been told time and time again.
in which case, I'm just going to stand 10 foot away from it.
On 9, it's Parker.
I'm also going to move back to where Burple is, and I'm going to ready myself just in case
Yeah.
the floor falls away beneath me,
Okay, on 7, it's Sessions.
being able to move up and down surfaces.
Are we going to throw the lever?
Yep.
Yeah, we are. Go
Let's
on,
throw
then.
the lever then.
It's in the down position. Do you want to throw it fully up?
Well, let's see what happens as it goes up. Does it have...
So you're going to kind of click it to the middle and then...
see what happens, and then...
Yeah, nothing happens when you click it to the middle. When you click it up, the portcullis that dropped a little earlier slides back up into the ceiling and the mist vapor ceases.
So did we miss someone pulling that lever?
Something triggered that trap, and it wasn't any of you pulling any levers that you could see.
What happens if I drop the lever the other way, Mike?
All the way the other way?
Yeah, all the way back down again.
The cage drops again.
Okay.
On 20, it's Burple.
So we haven't managed to find
I
Purple?
think we've got to figure out
You feel you've established that the lever that you are with
is not the
Sessions
one.
has absolutely nothing to do
With the big cage.
on the no, nothing to do with it at all.
Need to go and have a look for mechanisms.
Fuck's sake.
Get me in the
Okay,
cage.
we've
keep looking around.
eliminated that at least.
Yeah. Should we get Burple in the cage and keep looking around? What about...
No buttons on the wall. I mean, maybe have a little bit of a search.
Where do you want to start?
No. I think Burple needs to
On
go...
behalf of our ever-dwindling readership, Lucas,
Is
don't
rapidly...
start searching the walls.
No.
There's nothing to be found.
This other lever,
You're pretty certain
we know what it does.
from last time that it operates both the pit
Yeah,
and the
so
cage in the corridor leading into this
So we've
room.
established that it's of no further...
You haven't yet found a lever that you haven't worked out what it does.
Okay. What about the half spirit? We haven't done
Spirit's
anything.
just sitting there.
Haven't done anything with the half spirit, have we?
You haven't prodded it or
Is there
No,
any way
nothing.
of
Questioned it.
questioned it, talked to it, interacted with it? Can anybody do that?
But it's Burple's turn. What does Burple want to do?
Burple, can you get down? It's quite a way.
Okay. He's going to make his way down.
Yeah.
Towards the hearth spirit to see what happens?
Yeah.
Okay, I will see you in a minute. I'm going to go to the broom cupboard. Hello.
Hello.
Hello. Right.
Hello.
The sound of rattling, that weird rattly noise, was now fully gone. The one that waits on its knees, puts its hands in the air, looks at you pleadingly, but it's also sort of smiling, like delighted. It starts moving its head around, stretching itself. It says, I'm free. I'm free. Give me an insight
Right.
check.
Add 2 to this. 14.
It seems markedly different in kind of mood and posture from before. It seems completely delighted. It looks like it's shaken off something.
Well, in the smoke, I'll say, where has the hag gone?
Where are you, voice? Are you my liberator?
It's Buggy. I'm in the smoke.
Ah,
Where has the hag gone?
do you talk of Cold Tooth?
Yes.
The dwarf?
Yes.
She must have... I am free. She must have fled.
Fred, where? Where does this tunnel go with a...
Oh, it
cart?
is the trucks. To carry the goods.
What goods?
The product of the carrion pits. The crawler loads. We make them here. They are missiles, made from the venom from the creatures in the cave.
Will you
Many-
help my friends?
Many months have we labored here under her domination, and you, O great smoke lord, you have freed me.
I have come to seek vengeance. I will hunt her down. Will you help my friends get out of the carrion pit? Do you know how to operate the mechanical equipment?
Which mechanical equipment,
The one,
great smoke
the one,
creature?
the one at the end of the corridor behind me.
What do you wish to happen, O great
I
lord
want you to
of
help my
smoke?
friends get up to this level
Oh,
in one piece. Could you do that for me?
there is no mechanism that will achieve that. The cage does not move.
You mean it's just traps? The levers just operate traps.
There is a mechanism to open the gate in the roof of the cage, and there is a mechanism to open the floor of the cage. I think I am familiar enough to show you how that works. May I introduce myself to you?
Yes.
My name.
My name?
My name.
Yes.
My name is Monster P. McWheat, and I was the leader of our group until we were enslaved, enthralled by whom you call the Hag.
Will I be able to catch her up if I go down this passageway?
You may well be able to apprehend the Hag, as you call her, O great smoke creature.
Does she have any other companions?
No, she was the chief operator, the alchemist that created the crawler loads. She works alone.
Is there a key?
A key?
A key, a receptacle with a box or a...
No, I remember nothing of a key.
She doesn't carry a key.
I recall no key. No.
Will you operate the mechanical equipment to your best of your ability or help my companions reach this level?
I can encourage them. Show me, where am I going?
You're going to the end of this passageway behind me, and you're going to peer out and help my
to the
companions.
Great Carrion Cave. Yes.
I will leave you to it. If my companions do not get here alive, I'll be back for you.
Well, Monster P. McWheat scuttles off back up the corridor you came down.
Okay, I'm going to do a move action down the corridor.
Okay, well, there's nothing. You've heard that mines have carts that run on rails. You think this must be what this is.
But I can run along. I can run quite fast.
Yeah. We'll leave that to you. I'm going to go back to the others.
Okay, right.
Right. You hear from above you a voice call out,
Hello? Are you the companions of the Smoke Lord?
Yes.
and there's a voice
Yes.
from above you. Well, you can't see where that voice has come from because none of you are in a position to see anything, but that's what happens. On 13, it's Scaly.
Scaly is going back into the cage to try and have another look to see if there's any mechanisms in the cage.
Let's start with what you can see.
Yeah.
When you look up,
Yes.
standing in the hotel balcony of the room above you, there is one of those that wait. You think this is probably the origin of that voice.
Yeah.
Now, what do you want to do? An investigation check to look at mechanisms?
Yes.
Give it another go.
My rolling's just been... 11.
Okay, 11 is not the end of the world. I'm going to give you the basics.
Yeah.
First of all, it looks like there is no mechanism of any sort that looks like this cage goes up and down like an elevator.
Right.
Now you look at it and study it. It's bolted to the wall.
Right.
There are no...
Sorry.
There are hawsers that lead from the roof of the cage and disappear into apertures in the wall above you. Some that lead
There are
from
what?
hawsers, Hawsers, cables, steel cables, whatever you want to... Stringy things, Lucas.
Ooh.
They lead from what's obviously a gate in the
Yes.
roof of the cage.
Yes.
You suspect probably there might be a mechanism that would open and close that
Yes.
gate. And then others lead down the edges of the cave and seem to connect to the base of the cage. You can't work out what they might do.
Right.
But there's nothing that looks like it lifts the cage up or
Fine.
down. This creature shouts down,
The Smoke God has sent me to help you up here, and I have many stories to tell you. I was enslaved, but now I am free.
Aha.
what is this creature? What can it tell you about its history and story? What on earth? What on earth has happened to Uncle Buggy? Well, we're not going to find out now. We're going to pick up our conversation with this strange creature and find out more about the cage that doesn't do anything like what you thought it did.
Yeah.
Where we pick things up next week.
Let's hope so, anyway.
The Billowing Hilltop podcast is a Billowing Hilltop production. Dungeons & Dragons is a trademark of Wizards of the Coast. Kings of the Rift and Age of Worms are copyright Wizards of the Coast. Kings of the Rift was written by Greg A. Vaughan. Music is from Kevin MacLeod and Incompetech.com and is used with thanks under the Creative Commons license. Additional music and sound effects come from the wonderful Sirenscape. All other original material is copyright Billowing Hilltop. Role-playing games are all about getting people together, and we use Roll20 as our tabletop, the perfect place to host your game, and Discord to host our chat. Thanks for listening!